So today we're going to discuss over the dependency injection. So already we had seen that how we are implementing service part and mute Samir, and how that service is working and how that service is helpful while writing the code. So what was service? Can anyone?
Service is a certain piece of code
Yeah,
which performs some tasks.
yeah, correct. So certain piece of code which is going to perform some task. And after that, whatever code we are writing in the service, that is available in all component. Means we can access that code, whatever method, whatever variable, whatever we had decided, means we had um, written there. Okay, so that will be accessible in each component. We can access that everywhere. So even we can access inside some other service also. Okay, suppose here we are using this get data. So if we want to access this line of code somewhere, we can do that also. Means inside some other service, we can perform that task as well. So next thing, let's run the application. Before that, just go with the dependency injection. So what is actually dependency injection? So yesterday we had seen that for using service, how we was using service in our component, what we was doing, what are the steps we was following actually. What are the steps we was following from the service to the component?
First, we create service
Yeah,
using ngz as a service name.
yeah, fine.
Then we add some method on the service file.
Yeah,
Then we import service in our component.
yeah. How we was importing? Okay, we done import. Next,
Inject the service
yeah.
class
So that
inside
is
the.
the main thing, that we had to inject that whatever service class is there, we have to inject that inside which where we was injecting.
inside the constructor.
Yeah.
Constructor.
So we was injecting. Hold on. 1 second. Yeah. Hello. So what we was doing? Where we was injecting? We was injecting inside the constructor, correct? And where that constructor? Inside our component. Means any component wherever we wanted to use that data, wherever want to use that method to display the data. So see what we had done. We had created the service, and inside service we had written one common method. Some variable is going there and it performing some task, and then finally it returning the value as a z, something it returning. So second thing what we done, inside the component we had used that one. So let's verify where we had used it. Sorry, this is spec file. Yeah, so inside our component, so see what we had done here. First we had imported that service. Okay, and after import we had injected that. Here you can see that two line of sentence is written, inject service class inside the constructor with what one, private read only access modifier. Okay, and then we had injected that. What will be the naming convention? So whatever class name service file have, the same name we will take. See that name we are taking here, it's the same, but we are making one changes. Starting letter we had keep that as like the small letter. Okay, so just by the naming convention means by changing the capital or a small, we are changing the name. After that, what we had done, we have to use this method. So what we had done actually, we had taken this dot product service dot. Once we will provide this dot, when we will give dot, we will get all the method which is available inside that service file. Okay, so then we will take this, and like this way, what we had done, we had not written that piece of code on our component file. We had written that piece of code on some other file, and we are using that one. Clear? So like this type, we can perform all the means some different activity on the service, and then we can use that piece of code somewhere wherever it is required. Okay. So this was the thing which we had discussed. So one thing, private read only. What is this one? So here I had written everything. So here let's see. So why be writing this a private read only service class? Because see this here. The reason for this to limit anyone. Yeah. So the reason for this is to limit anyone from reassigning the same object reference within the class when it is injected. When we are injecting, we going to limit that. We going to restrict. For example, you have a private some service name. Okay, inside any other function, then your constructor, you can set some service to a new instance, some service equal to news, and then we created that object. Then, but due to the read only method, it going to prevent for creating that object of that one, creating the instance. Next thing, what are the access modifier? So access modifier like private, public, and protected, three things. So actually the meaning of this one, it is going to vary language to language. And suppose in C, you will get something different, C++ something, then JavaScript something, Java something. But overall, I can tell that approximately 99% everything will be common, but just minor changes will be there in all. So in JavaScript, public means everyone is allowed to access. If you had written any method as public, it means that anyone can allow that one. Means anyone can access that. I not want to access this method anyone. I want to restrict. So that's why we had taken this as a private. Okay. Suppose yeah. Okay. So we taken that as a private. But if you taken this as a public, it means that anyone can access that one. Second, private. Private means restrictions are there. So private means that only member of the same class are allowed to access. So private in the sense, whatever is code is written on this one, who all want to access from this class, they can only access whatever we had written with the private. Okay, because we are restricting the scope, we are not allowing that everyone can access, we are restricting. Fine. Next is the protected. So protected and private both have rocks same, but this keyword allow a little more access than a private member, but a lot less than public. Means it will give you more than private, but less than public, because public means it is globally, it is public property, anybody can access. Private means nobody can access, that's our property, we can use that. And who all in our relation, who all means friendship like this type, they can access that one. Protected, it's like same but not public. Okay, so these three things we have to use, and we are using that. Fine. Next. So up to this, I'm not thinking that anyone having any issue in the service part. So second thing, what is dependency injection? That is the main thing. So you can write down that what is dependency injection, because you will not get everything here. So please
Yes,
start
sir.
writing. Yeah.
Yes, sir,
So
tell.
dependency injection, in the sense, dependency injection, it is a design pattern. It is a design pattern. It is a design pattern
Pattern.
mm, in which a class, this yellow mark you have to write now. I had written actually here. It is a design pattern in which a class will request. It is a design pattern in which a class will request dependencies. Class will request dependencies. Class will request dependencies from external source, from external source, rather than creating them. From external source rather than creating them. Clear?
So what is the
It's
last
done.
one?
Okay, rather than creating them. Rather than creating them. Okay. So see what it means. Suppose that come to the service file. What we doing actually, here we are using one method, this method. Here we are using one method, that is get data. Here we are using some property variable. Who had derived this one, means who had written that code, where this is written on our component, means inside our class, because this is our class. No, means inside our class, that is not written. It is written somewhere. And what we are doing, we are not going to create them. In place of creating, what we are doing, we are using from the external source. From where we are using? We are using from the service. So just click here, you will redirect on the service page. Got it? So what are we doing actually? In place of creating that, we are using that from the some external source. Like we are using that activated route. We are mute. We are not creating that any method. We are not creating any property method, nothing. We are using that because that is available somewhere. And we are just importing how we are using. So for using, we are importing that statement, and then we are injecting that inside the constructor, and then we can use that. Second thing, already we had seen why we are importing inside the constructor only, why we writing this line of code inside the constructor, and why not we can go with the ng on in it. That now we got the error. A parameter property is only allowed in a constructor implementation. Okay, if you have to inject anything, you have to do all the injection inside the constructor, not inside the ng on init. Why? Because ng on init is a part of the lifecycle hook. So before starting of the lifecycle hook, you have to be ready with your output. Means suppose something is required from this method, means from the service we are accessing something. So before running your life cycle, means before starting your application, you have to be ready with your output. Means if this service will get load, then only we can access the this method, get data, my value, whatever is there written. Got it? Whatever we are using here, then only it will get available. That's why we have to import these all, inject inside the constructor, not outside the constructor. Clear? So what you can write, why we
Yes,
are
sir.
writing inside the constructor? We are writing inside the constructor because whatever output it will give, that have to be available before starting the life cycle hook. If you want, you can write down why we are writing, why we are injecting inside the constructor, not inside ng on init. Are you writing? If you're writing, then I can
Yes,
Yes,
detect.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
yes,
sir.
sir. We are
Okay.
writing.
So why we are injecting inside the constructor? Why we injecting any services inside constructor rather than ng on init? This is question actually. Why we injecting services external, means services inside constructor in place of or rather than ng on init? Because now write the answer. all the services we have to, all the services we have to, let me write here that also. YB INJCTING injecting all services inside constructor rather than the ng on init.
Sir,
Huh?
why you specify only service inside the constructor?
Not only service, means like all different types of service,
Okay.
like a activated route. What is that? That is also one type of service.
Yeah,
Got it?
HTTP client, that also service.
Yeah, it's like service.
Okay, got
All are
it.
like service. NGONINIT. NG on init. Yeah. So why we are INJECT, why injecting all service inside the constructor? Make this correction. Just do one thing. Google also. Just to see what they are giving. The constructor should only initialize class member but should not do actual work. So we should use constructor to set up dependency injection, initialization of class field, etc. And G on it a better place to write the actual work code that we need to execute as soon the class instantiated. Yeah, the same thing actually. So what we can write, what I had told, we have to inject, we have to inject all services inside constructor so that the output will be available before starting of the life cycle. Okay, this is the thing. And one more point we can write. 1 second. The constructor should be only be initialized class member. Take this also. Same place. Write down this completely. Up to where you written. If you want, I can dictate. Okay, I asking means I speaking from the starting. We have to inject all services inside the constructor so that the output will be available before starting the life cycle. Up to here completed. Right, life cycle hook. Up to here completed.
Sir, instead of life cycle hook, we can write ng on unit because
No,
life
that's not.
cycle hook वो sentence like very भारी भरकम
No,
हो
but
जाता है.
main thing is that one. Because in life cycle, all the 8 life cycle steps will become. Not only one ng on it is just. Clear this one. Next, the constructor should be initialized class member. Written or I have to speak?
Yes,
Write
sir.
that.
Please tell, sir.
Okay. So right, first sentence you completed. First paragraph.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Go to second. The constructor should the constructor should only be used. The constructor should only be used to initialize class members. Constructor should only be used to initialize class members, but should not do actual work. But should not do actual work. So, so we should use constructor. So we should use constructor. So we should use constructor to set up dependency injection. To set up dependency injection means constructor not going to work actual means it's not going to perform the actual work. So what we doing? We are setting all the dependency injection inside the constructor. Second point, initialization of class field means in that itself continuity of that. To set up dependency injection after that comma, then initialization of class field, etc. Initialization of class field, etc. Initialization of class field, etc. Second thing, ng on init means now for the ng on init. Why we are not writing inside that? So ng on init is a better place. ng on init is a better place. ng on init is a better place to write actual work code. To write actual work code that we need to execute that we need to execute that we need to execute as soon as the class is as soon as the class is instantiated. Instantiated. What is the spelling of instantiated? Write that. INST. INS completed. Okay, fine. So let's see. So why we had done inside the constructor? Why not inside the ng on init? Now it's clear. So now come to the dependency injection. So in dependency injection, what we had seen, it's a design pattern and in which a class will request for some external dependency or some dependency from where it requesting from the other resources in place of creating them. Because if you created, then it's no any dependency injection take place. Because in place of using this method, we going to create that. We going to write all the logic. So it's not that. So that's why we are going with the dependency injection. And in interview, actually, they are asking a lot. What is dependency injection? What is services? Okay. So keep in mind. So here just one sample examples is there. But anyway, already we had done. So we have everything. We have the idea of that dependency injection, how that's working on this thing. Next thing. So let me drop this. No. I have to add one mini project actually. I will not drop this now. Okay. So now come to the next point. So actually in services, what we was getting yesterday. So for using this constructor inside, for injecting that inside the constructor, what we had discussed that we have to add that in the app module also, correct? So what we was doing, we was injecting inside constructor and we was registering inside the app module.ts file. So where we was registering services?
Provider. Inside the
Provider.
provider.
Okay, so let's see what we had done. We had written that services inside the provider section. So now if you created, this is just only one service. For other task, what you will do, you will create different services. Okay, so what we will do actually, so what all services you going to create, you have to pass there by comma separated. Okay, so put comma and pass all the services, whatever. Suppose that this is our service 2. Suppose service 2 is there something. So we have to pass like this. So whatever service we have, we will pass all the services. And so there are two ways of writing the service. Now write that there are two ways of there are two ways of two ways of registering service. There are two ways of registering service in our application. In our application. Completed. So first write there are two ways of registering service in our application. First, app level means application level. First is application level and second is the component level. Okay. First is application level, second is the component level. Clear? So where we was doing in the application level? Can anyone tell that? Can anyone tell where we will do in the application level? Yeah.
So inside the app module and provider is there. Inside the provider, we are going to input.
Okay. So application level in the sense, who is the root of the application? Who is the root?
App call.
What app?
App
Who
root.
is the, yeah, no. Where is the app root? Are you getting anywhere app root?
No,
That is selector, metadata. Correct? So who is the root of application? That is app module. Correct or not? Means main.ts, then HTML, those things, nothing. That is not the root of the application. When you are starting the application, your application flow will start from the main.ts and index.html, those side. But where you are registering everything, whatever component, module, everything in our root module. Correct? And that is app module. Is this clear or not? So we are doing all the task inside our app module. Means in the case of application level, what we can do, we can register all the providers, means inside the module section, either inside app module or our custom module. In place of custom module, we can register in the root module itself. So it will be available everywhere. It will not create the problem. Okay. So if you want, you can note down in the app level, we will register in the app level. In the app level, we will register our service. We will register our service in the app module. App module within bracket inside the provider. Inside the provider. Clear? And after that, what we are doing? We are just yeah. Tell me up to where you written.
Our service, register our service.
Register our. Anyone had written? Tell.
Yes, sir. In the app level, we will register our service in app module in bracket inside the provider.
And write next line.
Yes, sir.
By registering in app module, by registering inside or in app module, no need to import, no need to import, means no need to after import you can write no need to import, and after bracket there you can write the bracket provider. Okay, no need to import No need to import provider on each component. Means we will just register that on the application level. Then it will be available globally. Then you can write it become globally. It become available globally for complete application or whole application. It will available globally for whole application. It will available globally for whole application. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Others?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
fine. So second. So what is second? So already we had seen that how we are doing in the provider level and this everything. So I'm not thinking that any explanation is required in the app level. So now move to the second, that is component level. So now component level means what we will do, we have to register this provider section on our component. So what we will do, we will copy and comment this. Okay. And now save. And now go to your component. So which component? Wherever you want to use the service, you can register on that component. Inside metadata, we can pass that, this provider. Got it? But now see, you got the error because on this file, this service file is not available. So we will import that also. Got it? See that. We imported the service and we registered in the provider section inside the metadata. So write down that in the component level, give the heading component level, and in component level, we have to register service. We have to register service on each component. We have to register service on each component wherever we want to use. We have to register on each component wherever we want to use. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what we done actually here? Now we had registered this on each component. In the previous app section, we had written one line. By registering in app module, we had written something. What we had written? Can anyone? In the app level. In the app level, we had written one line there. By registering inside app module, it will be available globally or something we had written. So see.
Sir, no need to import.
Yeah. So actually, in that case, when we had written in the app module, it become available globally. And suppose that when we are doing on the component level, we have to import on each component because that is not available in the root. If that is not available in the root, means we have to inject, we have to add that service, we have to register the service on each component. That means now you can write that. What are the sentence we have written? What is the last one, last line in the component level?
In the component level, we have to register service on each component we have wherever we want to use.
Okay, so that's completed. Now go to the next line. Then what is the benefit by registering in the app level and component level? What is the merit or demerit? What are you thinking? Just give the heading. Benefit of registering the service. Benefit of registering the service on the component level and module level. Component level and module level. Now tell me the benefit. What are you observing? Anyone having any idea?
Yes, sir. In module level, if you are going to import that would be globally.
Okay.
And in component, if you are going to register, then each component we have to import that one.
Okay. So which is good?
In app module, we have to.
Module level.
Yeah, we have, yes.
Okay, fine. Others? Others also having same or different opinion? Same opinion? Okay. So now see the problem. Suppose we had registered this is our module, fine, and this is our component 1. This is our component 2, and this is our component 3. Now what we had done? We had imported service here also, correct? And same thing we going to write on this line on each component. Now see that difference. Suppose when we injected that on the component level, sorry, module level. If we imported in the module level, then what happens? Suppose that you have total 20 services. Okay, 20 services. And this 20 service we had imported on the this module level. And the same 20 services be imported on this one. But now just imagine this is your login page. This is your login. So there is one login service. Okay, keep in mind like that. There is one registration service. There is one registration service. Spelling mistake is there. There is one dashboard service. Okay. Now see, there are 3 services, and we going to write all the service on this file. Okay, we have to register all the 3 service in the module level. But what we have done in the component level, on this file, I want only login service. Be only imported login service. We want only registration. We done that. We want only dashboard service. We use that service. Just use the mind of the lazy loading now. Suppose that user had visited your website, he not clicked this component, means he not looked over your login page. Is this service useful? That will become useless for this user.
Yes, sir.
Correct, because this login service it going to perform some task, but user has not visited here, and due to that it become the useless. Now if this become the useless, then what is the need of loading all the service? Because when we are registering in the app module, then it will load all the 3 services, correct? Whether user is visiting your website or not, whether user is visiting your page or not, but anyway you are loading these 3 service, and due to that your page getting slow down. In place of registering in app module, what we can do, we are going to register on each separate component. If we register on separate component, maybe user will not visit this component. Maybe user not visited this component, maybe this also not visited, and he visited this one. So which service is useful for him? Just the dashboard. Then whatever we are loading this all 3 services, this all 3, it become useless. Clear? So which is better choice? Better choice to go with the component level. But mostly you will see more number of persons everybody doing in the module level itself. But if we going with the component level, that is better regarding the performance wise. Okay, clear? Got it? Or having any doubt? So if you want, you can write down that point. So in the app module, comma, when application will load, in the app module, comma, when the application will load, it going to load all the component, comma, all module, comma, all services, etc. Written up to here. Next, due to loading of all the files, at same moment, due to loading of all the files at the same moment, our application gone slow down. Our application will slow down, and it will affect the performance. It will affect the performance of our application. It will affect the performance of our application. Clear? Now go to the component wise. In component wise, it will load only. It will load only. It will load only particular services. It will load only particular service, which is going to use on that component, which is going to use on that component, which is going to use on that component. Clear? Written or anyone is pending?
Completed, sir.
Okay. Is this clear now? What is difference between
Yes.
module level? What is
Sir,
difference
please
between
give the real
One more time, sir. The last one.
I forget. I have nothing written. Can anyone tell? Yeah. Anyone just speak that last line, dictate. Up to where you written, Vivekanand? Last line, tell.
In component file, it will load only particular services which is going to use on that component.
Vivekanand, got it?
Load only
Particular services
submissions.
which is going to use on that component.
Sir, please give an example. Give the example how to import the component.
Yeah, 1 second. See, in this actually not we not going to do anything. What we have to do, this provided section. Okay, this provider you have to write inside the component decorator. That is the thing. If you want, you can write in the examples. This providers. This one we was importing on the app module. We was writing in the app module. Same thing we have to write in the component level also. Means no need to write in the app module. We will write in the component. Write down this. Just this example. That's it. Remaining all will be same. How to use this, that, all
Sir,
same. Yeah.
sir, one doubt. Sir,
Hmm.
in component level,
Yeah.
not means inside provider not passing any services, so it will be work fine.
Yeah, that will work. Yeah, correct.
But there is product data component.ts in app module. In their past, their provider in component.
Yeah.
That means you write in component inside provider. I didn't get, sir. Why we
Okay.
write?
See. Yeah. So see, when we writing, when we not writing anything, then also it will work. Okay. Because everything is injected in the root of the application. How we know that? Due to the provide in colon root. Provided in colon root. Due to this, it get injected in the root of the application itself. But rather than what we are doing, we are going with the app module, means module level and component level, where we want means see, now I telling you, you have 100 rupees. Okay. Out of that, I giving you 10 rupees for particular work, 20 rupees for separate work. So when you will get the chance of that 10 rupees activity, you will use that one. If you want 100 rupees, you will use that one. Like that, we are separating. If you will not write, then also it will work fine. It's not going to create the problem. But when we are doing that, means like module level or component level, so we are specifying that you have to use on this module or either there. If we not passing, then also it will work fine. Got it? That is the thing. So this was actually dependency injection. Clear? Means what we covered? We covered the services and dependency injection. So this was the complete service part. Anyone having any doubt? Tell me. No doubt? Okay.
Sir, one doubt. Sir, why we pass the provider in component inside component?
Inside component, that decorator area you telling, correct?
Yeah, sir.
This one. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
Sir,
are
this.
registered.
without
Yeah,
provider, sir, it will work fine or not, sir? Without
yeah,
provider.
that will work fine. But after that also, what we are doing, we have to inject, means that will work fine. But then also we have to write this in the provider section. Okay. Means for the our safety purpose, you can tell that our safety side, we have to write that where you want to use that. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Which calling man this time? 1 second. Okay. Okay, fine. So this was actually dependency ingestion and services, that how we can